I took wonderful cooking lessons when I was in Paris. I spent a very intensive week at one of the famous cooking schools, 10 hours a day. And now, whenever I get a chance, I spend time learning to cook. I don't see any point to sitting around and wasting time. If I'm watching television, I'm knitting or sewing. If I'm, it's doing 2 and 3 things at the same time, because that's my nature and that's what I like.
That's nice. Climbing up.
She has her own drive and wants to get as much done as possible, but she also wants to stay fit, for example, for the running and Pilates. She enjoys the cooking and the sewing and the knitting, so it's not as if she's doing it because she's knitting somebody a sock as a duty.
It's just that I take advantage of every opportunity that comes up. I mean, the fact that I haven't done this before doesn't mean I can't do it, and I won't learn how to do it quickly.
I think by analogy with language, first of all, by trying to understand the grammar of whatever she's doing. What's the structure? How does the physiology work? For example, with sewing, why take a course in design? Because that way you pick up the structure to do something that's even more creative or creative in a different way. Even in a way, the running, so much of what she does is a way of expressing creativity.
I needed something I could do while I was setting up another business here. I needed to take extra time for Andy. He was losing his ability to walk. Of course, you're going through all of it. You really don't know where it's going to end, so it's very stressful. I needed something that was just, that I could do any time of the day. Basically, just go out there. And running seemed to be the most logical. I could just strap on my shoes and go out for half an hour, come back, and, just feel a lot better about everything.
That left me quite happy until she told me she wanted to run a marathon, which worried me. But I've got used to it, and she does one a year.
I've run 8. I ran my first marathon when I was 51.
The first time I ran a 5K race with her, I came back exclaiming to her husband that she was beyond evil, and he just nodded his head and said, "Yes, I know."
I mean, if we go out to run a 5K, they run a 5K. And I don't let them stop.
She's like a bundle of energy. She's perpetual motion. Even when she walks in here, and it can be like 6 o'clock in the morning, and she will bustle about, and she'll get her coat down, and she'll be off, and she'll be going. And she's going from one place to the next all the time.
As I understand it, scientifically, there is no such thing as a perpetual motion machine. You have to feed them energy, right? So yes, she does sleep. But when she's up, she's pretty much in motion all the time.
10 years ago, I started my own business to do PR for opera singers and classical musicians. Once the artist is booked, we take over from there. We organize all of their public relations. We put together press kits. We contact the media.
She's a type A personality for sure.
I'd say type A plus a lot.
Anyone who's met her will remember her. She's not one of those personalities that you ever forget.
This is the sample copy for Megan's dress that I'm making for her. So I'm just checking to see if the sleeves are going to fit properly, and they are! Yay!
If there's one thing that Moira is, it's wanting to do things for the people she cares about.
Look at that. I love sewing for other people and doing things for other people rather than myself. So that's what I'm aiming for.
No, she's always been like that. She's very good at noticing the sorts of small things that people appreciate, and also very good at keeping her temper even when other people are frustrating.
People tend to thrive on the confidence you give them and the fact that you know that they can do the job, and you just have to convince them of that.
It's amazing. She's a very selfless and giving person.
There are 2 babies who are due in the spring, so I want to get quilts made because their mothers are going to be knitting themselves into a corner, so they don't really need any more knitting from me, but quilting is something that I can do for them.
I honestly think you could ask the world of her and she would say yes. I do.
I mean, I have no expectation of returns on anything. What I do hope is that people will pass that along and remember that somebody was there to help them when they needed it and can pass that along in the future. I don't know, what do you see in it?
I see several things in it. I'm trying to remember what I first saw. Aside from beautiful colors, I see, sometimes I see dancing and sometimes I see birds flying. But I can't remember which of the two I saw first.
For me, it was the colors and the movement, the sense of movement, dancers. I can see Jackie in the position on one of the right-hand side because she's my Pilates instructor.
Yes, but you didn't know her when we first saw the painting.
No, but I mean, now I can look at it, and that is
I see.
a total dance position, contemporary dance.
Okay.
Actually, when she is a bird, come to think of it, when she is portraying a bird. So there you go. It's both.
Oh, portraying a bird. That's much less interesting.
Not really. You haven't seen the piece. It's quite spectacular.
Oh, okay.